Is there one subject, the Overwhelmed Brain podcast asks, is there one subject you rarely get asked about but love to talk about? Oh, I love to talk about playing pool. I love to talk about pool and billiards. I grew up with a beautiful circa 1910 Brunswick Ball Colander fancy pool table. I wasted a lot of my youth not getting good at pool. I made up for that around the age of 18 and played pool very seriously for probably 10 hours a week for 3 or 4 years. Something on the average of that. Yeah, I put in a lot of time. I put in a lot of time on the pool table, and I found a lot of transcendence on the pool table. That's why I did it. It's remarkable to me that these imprecise, mostly water-filled bags that we travel around in can do precise things, like what that Korean shooter could do, or what Simone Biles can do with her body. We're seeing this at the Olympics right now. It's like humans are incredible, what the precision they can bring with these imperfect machines we are moving around in. And the obstacles to getting good at pool are all internal. They're all mental. And actually, I collected books on pool because of course I did. I'm a total completist. I spent a couple of years going to the New York Public Library's main branch, only researching New York Times news stories about pool. And I have a folder of printouts of every story about pool or billiards from the New York Times from its inception in the 19th century until the 80s. And my favorite book on pool, well, first of all, there's a wonderful pool player, local San Franciscan named Robert Byrne, not the poet, but a poet of writing about pool. Robert Byrne's standard book of pool and billiards is the de facto best book ever written on pool and billiards. I don't know really, it's just incredible. And his manner is great, and he wrote a book on pool shots, and he also wrote some history of pool playing. He grew up in San Francisco in the 50s and the 60s, which was this golden time. He wrote a wonderful book called McGorty about a local pool hustler. So that being said, one of my favorite books on pool was Timothy Galloway's The Inner Game of Tennis. And it's specifically because the inner game of tennis is all about the mental process of getting good at precision with your body. And Timothy Galloway was a tennis player who was also a tennis teacher. And he was teaching someone about how to do a serve, and he was explaining them how to do it with their body, what to do and when. And at a certain point, he had this epiphany, and he asked a student, instead of telling them what to move on their body and how, he was like, I'm going to serve and I want you to watch me. And he served like 3 times and had them just watch him without focusing on a specific thing to watch. Just watch his body while he served 3 times. And then he asked them to do it, and their improvement was really marked. And that gave him this idea about the ways in which we process information. And there's this whole section in The Inner Game of Tennis when he talks about, if you're going to play this sport, you got to fall in love with the ball. The ball is your enemy. The ball is your friend. The ball is the source of all your frustration and all your transcendence. And it translates beautifully to pool because it's all about the object ball. It's all about the cue ball and the object ball. It's all about what's going to happen after you make a move and it does a thing, and then what happens after that. And if you can answer those questions every time you get in the crouch, man, you can be an amazing pool player. I played a lot. I played with hustlers. I never hustled, but I played with the hustlers. I hung out in a hustler zone in New York, and like I came to feel that in every sport, because I also then playing pool also got me interested in hustlers. There's a famous movie, The Hustler, with Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason, and Jackie Gleason plays a character named Minnesota Fats. There's a pool player named Minnesota Fats. The pool player Minnesota Fats did not exist until the movie came out. Minnesota Fats the man was actually originally New York Fats, but he was so convinced that they wrote that movie about him that he changed his name to Minnesota Fats. I'm pretty sure that's the right story. And the fact is that actually Jackie Gleason, who played Minnesota Fats in The Hustler, was a tremendous pool player. And there's this the most famous pool hall in New York City ever was Toots Shores. Tootschor. Toots Shores. Toots Shores was the most famous pool hall in New York, and Jackie Gleason used to hold court there. But I got really interested in Hustlers, so I bought Minnesota Fats' book, and I bought other books on hustlers. I bought books on Bobby Riggs. Wow, yeah, Bobby Riggs, classic hustler. Bobby Riggs beat Margaret Court in tennis. And it was made into a wonderful movie because then Billie Jean King played him and eviscerated him. But the reason he beat Margaret Court was because he was a hustler, because he knew how to get he knew how to play the mental game. And specifically around hustling, I was fascinated in reading this book about 6 different hustlers: a pool hustler, a tennis hustler, a backgammon hustler, a golf hustler, a darts hustler. And the most surprising thing was that many of these people hustled at multiple things. So how can anyone get that good that they could hustle at both tennis, backgammon, or golf and billiards? They're all completely different sports. And the answer is, it has nothing to do with the mechanics of the game. And the hustler, I've eventually learned this from the hustlers, is that when you are a hustler specifically, is someone for whom the stakes just don't matter. You could make that game for $1 or $1 million, and they are going to apply the same amount of attention to the game. The stakes don't affect their emotionality. That is all that I think really typifies an excellent hustler. Which means that they are not trying to beat you at the game. They're trying to set stakes for the game that have you thinking about the stakes, not the game. That's why a golf hustler will always go double or nothing on that last hole, because now you're thinking about the mortgage payment that you're going to be able to make, and you're going to choke on your shot. Pool and billiards, within the frame of education, and I'm not an educator and I'm not trained in this field, but within the frame of education, there is regularly a discussion about letting kids move towards a specific passion, and they will learn all of this wide cone of ancillary material as they attempt to execute this thing that they're interested in. I am living proof that this is an excellent plan. That's what I think, because I love all the esoteric knowledge I get exploring any given set of parameters for a specific thing. And yeah, clearly I love talking about pool and billiards. I even played 3-cushion billiards at Julian's in New York.
Thank you for watching that video. Are you as sick of the tosses to membership as I am? Good, because here's a brand new one that I recorded today, and it's nice and short. There are 3 tiers to Tested membership, and they all offer awesome stuff. Find out about it by clicking the join link below. We'll see you there.